Hey, you got that crazy late payment on there that's killing your credit report. It should be illegal, right? Because one late payment should not be able to drop your credit score 100 plus points. I get it, okay? There are tons of ways to remove late payments. So I'm going to be showing you the way that people in our community have been able to remove and reverse late payments. And even once upon a time, I had 57 late payments that were removed from my credit report. Yes, it was a different strategy that I used back then. However, strategies change over a period of time. So I'm going to be showing you step by step, letter by letter. I'm going to be showing you CFPB report. I'm even going to show you how to even go to the Attorney General's office. The beautiful thing, though, y'all, you don't have to worry about taking screenshots of these letters and all of that stuff. All you got to do is click the link below where it says join free community, and every letter that I have here in this video is completely free in our community. Everything that I'm going to be doing as far as the CFPB complaint, I have a video there as well, and you can join absolutely free and get all the edible letters as well. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and get these late payments removed or reversed. Let's get it. Let's go. Come on in.
Late payments can actually have a humongous score or effect on your score. It can drop your points 100 plus points, which seems like it should be illegal, but that's just the way it goes. So you can literally have a 720. One late payment can drop you down to 620. Why is that? Okay, because you got to understand the credit game, y'all. The credit game is like this. They don't want your credit score to be 750. Why? Because the higher your credit score, the lower your what? Your interest rates. The lower your credit score, the higher your what? Interest rates. Okay. That's why removing late payments can be an extremely tedious process. However, in this process, you can remove late payments. It can take you sometimes within 30 days, it can take 60, it can take 90, it can take 120, it can take 6 months. But the key is going to be being consistent. Late payments are generally speaking one of the hardest things to remove, to be quite honest with you. Okay? But I'm going to show you the law here tonight that we're going to be utilizing. Okay? So late payments, okay? It's going to generally mean when something is 30 days late, 60 days late, 90 days late. We all know what a late payment is. It can be in reference to a credit card. It can be in reference to a loan. It can be in reference to a mortgage payment. Normally speaking, 99% of the time, for example, if your credit report, if you have something that's due on the 15th, if you pay it on the 25th, 10 days late, you may have a late fee, but it's not reporting on your credit until it's technically 30 days after that bill date. Okay. So again, I talked about the impact on your credit score. Okay, we already talked about that. It can be 100 plus points. So you want to get these removed. And what I want to do is not talk about them being removed necessarily. I want to talk about actually reversing credit late payments. What that simply means to you when it means to reverse a payment, going from a 30 days, 60 days, 90 days to being paid as okay. Yes, you can have a payment deleted, but in some cases, you can have an actual account deleted as well. And sometimes you may have had that account for 10 years, and all of a sudden you had two late payments within the last year, and then they delete that account. Yeah, the late payments are gone, but you lose all of that history. So, in a perfect world, we don't want to lose the actual account. So, we're going to be asking the credit bureaus to actually reverse the payments to going from late to going to okay or paid in full. Okay. So here's the keys. Okay. The due date. Okay. The date is which is actually typically due. Like I said before, is it could say 15th. Okay. Then you're generally going to be given a grace period that you have to make a payment, even a grace period that you have without having an actual late payment. But again, this has nothing to do with when it goes to your actual credit report. So I always tell you, hey, if you got to pay it on the 29th day before it's 30 days actually due, pay it on the 29th day before it's actually 30 days late. Yes, you may have a late fee, but again, it does not impact your actual credit score. I tell anyone, go ahead and put everything on automatic draft if you can. At least, let me rephrase that. Put all of your things that report to your credit reporting agencies on um on automatic draft. Take all that other stuff off, your cable bill, your Netflix, all of that stuff. Those things are not reporting to your credit report. Okay, so take those off automatic subscription and put your actual bills that's actually at a minimum due on automatic subscription if you possibly can. Okay. So I always want to just touch base here. Okay. When it comes down to your credit score, I like for you to just look at a table. Okay. We a lot of times think if I'm 99% of the time, I'm good, So that means right here, if you look at this actual chart where it says on time payments, excellent is 100%. Okay. Good is 99%. Okay. Fair, I'm gonna tell you right now. Now you've missed. If you had 100 payments and you missed two, you think any other world 98% is pretty good. Unfortunately, in the credit world, if you're at 98% with two late payments, you have a drastically drop your credit score. Okay, it's very rare that you're gonna be in the 7+ hundreds if you've had a late payment within the last 2 years. Yes, the older the late payment, the less it affects you. But definitely, if you've had late payments within the last 24 months, it's definitely affecting your credit report. Okay, so I always like to just show a table. Go ahead, take a screenshot of this if you like. Let me go ahead and admit. All right, so let's keep going here. So again, one of the laws that I'm going to be utilizing to remove late payments, okay, or maybe I should say reverse late payments, okay, we're going to be using consumer law, okay, and I won't go to Cornell law, but I have put all the laws here, and I want to particularly show you the particular letters that we're going to be utilizing to remove the late payments, or like I said, reverse. I may use the terminology of remove, but I really mean reverse. Okay, because that's what we want to do is reverse these late payments to okay payments. Okay. So again, one of the laws here is 15 USC 1681, permissible purpose of consumer reporting. So let's just read it here. This section is from the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which defines when and how a consumer report can be shared. Okay, this is key right here. Okay, because if you don't understand the law, we're going to continue to have things on our actual credit report that don't need to be. A consumer report can only be provided under certain conditions. This includes when a consumer has given written instructions for the report to be shared. Again, you can Google 15 USC 1681B. That keyword is have you given written instructions for your report to be shared? Okay. Example, did you give the creditor permission to report a late payment to the credit bureaus? If not, you may have grounds to dispute this late payment. Okay. Again, did you give them written instructions? We're going to be using this particular law when we put the letters together. Okay. Another one. This is all pertaining to how we address late payments. Okay. Because in 15 USC 1681 AI, A2 AI, it says in this section, this states certain information is what? Excluded from a consumer report on your, meaning it's excluded. Okay, that excludes reports that only contain information about transactions and experiences. What is a transaction? What is an experience? When you have something that's when you're making an actual transaction on your credit report, meaning you're using your credit card, and then it's a late, that's a transaction. The same thing can apply to your utilization as an experience and a transaction as well. The same laws pertain to removing utilization. So if you're at 100% maxed out on your credit card, these same exact laws apply to, they cannot report 100% of that utilization on your actual credit report. Yes, that's what I said. These same laws can mean, well, instead of them reporting 100%, you only want them to report that you're utilizing 5 or 10%. Okay, because this means this is excluded. Experiences and transactions are actually excluded. So if the late payment is based on inaccurate information or cannot be sustained through a creditor, is not required to report it if they cannot prove this stuff. Okay, and I'm going to show you here in an act with where the act of Thomas and American Express, where they can't just send you a bill and say, "Hey, we got a bill here that you was late." That doesn't stand up in the court of law. Okay, so let's keep going. One more law. Okay, I don't want to bore you with these laws. Okay, but again, in 15 USC 1681 S3, the duty of the furnisher of information to report accurate information. What is this section? This section requires the furnisher, i.e., the creditors, to provide accurate information to their actual reporting agency. So it has to be accurate. So what that means is throughout everything must be accurate and complete. And if it is inaccurate or unverifiable, it must be removed from your actual credit report. So this even means when you have a late payment, for an example, on Experian, but on Equifax, it says that it's okay that particular month. You can use one credit bureau against the other credit bureau when you line up all three of your credit bureaus. If the actual late payments are not accurate 100% on each particular credit bureau, you can use this particular law as well. Example: if a creditor has an inaccurate mark on your credit pay your payment as late, and they are legally obligated to correct it. Yes, we know that in actuality, yes, you could have been late, but it's now up. The burden of proof is on them to actually be able to prove that you were actual late on that particular account. Okay, so that's what the key is. It's not so much of if you were late; they have to prove and then give you um, adequate and substantial information to say yes, you were late. Okay, so again, this particular tactic that I'm going to be showing tonight, if you want to expedite the process, and you do not, I repeat, if you do not want to pursue legal action or get remedy from the creditor or from the credit bureaus, I'm going to show you some things tonight where you can actually expedite this process. Again, though, it could stop you from later on pursuing legal action, but it could expedite the process in getting your actual late payments removed. Meaning, you can actually dispute. Normally, I never tell you to dispute online, but you can, one, dispute online, two, at the Attorney General's office, three, send to the creditor certified mail, and mail certified mail to the actual credit bureaus. By submitting online to the credit bureaus, like I said before, that could later on stop you from pursuing legal action. So if you want to leave that particular step out, you definitely can do that. But you can do all of these simultaneously. Even in your very first round, you can send one letter to the credit bureaus, i.e., Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, but you also want to send a later letter simultaneously to the actual creditor. Okay, but then you can also file a complaint with the attorney general's office as well. Okay, so here's the step-by-step process in disputing these late payments. Okay, late payments. All right. So the very first thing what I want you to do, if you haven't already done this, go to annualcreditreport.com. Okay. The reason I tell you to go there is because they have all 7 years of your credit report. That's one. No, it won't have a credit score. No, you can't lay out and have all three bureaus simultaneously, but you want to be able to look to see all of the particular late payments, because you could have had a late payment that was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that's not showing up on your actual credit monitoring, i.e., Identity IQ, i.e., My Free Scores, something like that. I'm not saying that you don't want that, but you definitely want to at least get your annual credit report, because you may want to take screenshots of those on the annual credit report, and that may be something that you're going to actually submit to the credit bureaus later on down the line as we speak on this. Okay, so what you want to do is definitely review that credit report. I always say look for any inaccuracies you may have on your credit report, that's for sure. But this particular class is just on late payments. Okay, so you want to gather all of your information. So if you got the bills where you thought you sent that in, you got a canceled check, you got something showing that you, bank statements where you knew you had this automatically taken out of your account. Like I had a situation where I had to get a late payment reversed because they applied my payment to one of my other accounts because I had two payments with the same bank and they applied a payment to the wrong account. So I had to go back and get a pay one, and it did that. It dropped my score 100 points, okay? But I had to go back, and once I got that reversed using the methods that I'm telling you here today, that's why I was able to do that. So you want to write a dispute letter, okay? And in this dispute letter, you're going to just basically cite some of the laws that we talked about: 15 USC 1681, 15 USC 1681 A2AI, and so forth, okay? But I'm going to give you some sample letters and I'm going to show you these sample letters. And if you're already in our community, all of these letters, I did just update a few of them so they're already in our portal. If you're not in our community, go ahead, join the community. All of these letters will be right there under late payments. Okay, so let's go. Told you we won't be here long, but the information that I'm giving is pertinent information. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen here. Oops, sorry. Let me know if you can see that pretty clearly in the chat. Okay, good deal. Okay. So what this is your first round letter to the actual credit reporting agency. Okay. So what I'm saying in this particular letter is, hey, I hope this letter gets to you. This is a formal dispute for late payments to the credit reporting agency. That's what we're going to first, is to the credit reporting agency. Although we are going to send a letter also if you want to help to expedite the process to the actual creditors as well as file a complaint with the CFPB. You don't have to file the CFPB complaint on the first round, but I'm just telling you what you can do to help expedite this process. Okay. So here, everything is already highlighted that you want to do. And here, just keep this in mind. You want to have this one letter would be going to that particular credit reporting agency, i.e. Experian. Then you would have a separate letter for Equifax, a separate letter for Experian. Okay. So if you have a late payment that's only showing on Experian, you don't want to send a letter to TransUnion. So that's why you want to make sure you look at all your credit reports equally. Okay. And what you want to do is, if you have three accounts that are showing late on a particular reporting agency, i.e. Experian, you want to address this letter to Experian only, and then you want to list out your account right here, the account name exactly as it appears on the actual credit report. Okay. The second thing is you want to put the account number exactly as it appears on your actual credit report. Okay. So even if you know that their account number is 12345, but they have it as 123XXX on your credit report, you want to put it exactly as it appears on your actual credit report. Okay. And then what you want to do also is you want to put the exact late payment dates: March 2025, May 2024. You want to put it just like that. And whatever the dates of the late payments were, you want to list them here for account number one. So if you had account number two, you want to do the same thing. Account number three, same thing. Okay. So let's keep going. Upon reviewing and you don't have to put this exact letter. This is completely optional if you want to use this particular letter that I put together here, but you can definitely rewrite this and put it in your own words. Upon reviewing my credit report, I found that information regarding the late payments on the mentioned accounts is incorrect, untrue, and is a violation of consumer protection laws. I want to bring to your attention the specific laws that pertain to furnishers reporting late payments. So we want to go back to referencing 15, 15 USC 1681B, having permissible purpose. Did you give them any right to even report this? Do they have that in writing from you? Okay. The second part of that letter, right here it says subsection: any consumer reporting agency may furnish a consumer report under the following circumstance and no other, in accordance to written instructions of the consumer to whom it relates. I'm not making this up. This is all completely, you can Google that particular law. Unless you gave them written instructions to do this, this is where they are in violation. Okay. So again, if you don't know these laws, you can't get this stuff done. What's the second one law that I'm going to reference? 15 USC 1681 A2, where it's going to reference the term consumer report does not include, okay, any report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report. Again, you can look this up at Cornell Law. I just put the laws in there and I referenced them already. So I'm just, for the sake of time, I won't go to Cornell Law, but you can definitely Google these laws and get the same exact thing. Okay. This provision underscores that you, as the furnisher of the information, are not legally required to report negative information. As such, you're not bound to continue reporting late payments on my credit report. The third law that I'm going to reference is 15 USC 1681 S3. If you are reporting any negative information about me, it must be accurate. If the account is current and has no late payments, you are legally obligated to correct it. Okay. Are we attaching the credit report with this dispute? Great question here. Yes, you can definitely take a snapshot, a screenshot here of your actual credit report. You just got ahead of me here. So, but yes, you want to send in this. You don't have to when it's going on this first round. You definitely don't have to put that in, but you can definitely make a screenshot of that credit report. Just keep this in mind. If you are sending this to the credit report and you are making a screenshot, because sometimes I'll wait until round 2 or 3 to send out the screenshot, but you definitely can do that on round one, meaning the question at hand is, do you need to send your credit report? Yes, you can. However, if you're sending your credit report with this, what you want to do, if you're sending this to Experian, for an example, and TransUnion has different information, maybe you only want to send the information that Experian has. Okay, so just be mindful of the information that you're screenshotting. Okay, but yes, you can definitely do that, circle it, highlight it, and so forth. Okay, so moving on along. As I've outlined above in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, your company is in clear violation of the law. You're not legally bound to report legal negative information, as I stated. And as down below here, I'm going to also reference here, I request that you immediately correct the information, update my credit report to reflect the account is current and not late. Again, you can ask them to delete the payments, but sometimes by deleting the payments, they will delete an entire account. Okay. In some cases, deleting a whole account can be good. Like we got a whole entire car removed here back just a few weeks ago. It wasn't for this, but it did have about 8 or 9 late payments, so it was great. But the whole entire car was removed from the credit report. That was great. However, we were using a different tactic, but it was great because now that person car note is no longer on their actual credit report, so their utilization is not there. However, like I said before, we want to be careful with asking them to delete because they could delete the entire account, and when the entire account is deleted, you lose that history. Mhm. So let's go to the second last part of that letter, and I'm only referencing the other violations here in 1681A and also 1681S3. I expect a thorough investigation into this matter and prompt resolution. I request a free copy, okay? And if you have any questions, they can always contact you. And down here, just remember, guys, we're not signing our name. And but what we are sending is we're not signing our name, we're typing our name. But whenever you send this to the actual credit bureaus, you want to send a copy of your driver's license, and two forms of another form of residence, such as your cable bill, water bill, something like that. If your driver's license does not match on your, if you've like moved and your driver's license is different from what is on your credit report, okay, what you want to send then is then two copies of proof of residence, i.e., water bill, i.e., utility bill, i.e., cable bill, but maybe even send a copy of your social security number, social security card when you're sending this to the credit bureaus. When you go to the creditors, you're not going to send them anything. You're not going to give them any information besides the account number and your name. Okay, let's keep going. Follow up. Okay, so let's say the credit bureaus they respond and they do not they either if you do not receive a response, or they issue that it's been verified or it's been resolved. What I Before we escalate it, we want to send a follow up. Okay, a follow up letter. And in this follow up letter, okay, what I've basically done is basically the same thing, but this is here again. I hope this letter finds you. I previously disputed late payments with the creditor. However, because remember, this is about consistency, y'all. And again, the reason I'm doing these follow up letters, because if you do want remedy down the line and you do want to seek legal counsel, it's going to be important that you do step one, step two for this matter, because later on down the line, that may be asked of you. Hey, did you ask them to investigate? Did you ask them to relook at this, reinvestigate this? So this is where I'm asking them again. Hey, I want you to reinvestigate this again, because based on the law, this has not been given to me from the creditor, nor you guys have given me adequate information or substantial information to be able to actually remove, to not to keep this as a late payment based on the law. Okay, so this is pretty much the same law, same letter, just you want to always erase the red part here when typing this out. And as you can see, it's all highlighted. Give them the last four digits of your social, which credit bureau you're sending this to. So if you had late payments and it was taken off of one and not taken off the second, you want to just send this where it wasn't taken off. Okay. And this is the second letter. So let's keep going. Now, this here, if they all of a sudden, if you had to go to a round three, let's just say you had to go to a round three. And if you guys are not doing this, go ahead and do this, especially if you're in our community. Go ahead to go to get started and sign up for all three credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. I've linked a link where you can sign up for all three for free so you can track your disputes. What I mean by that is so you don't have to wait 30 days, because the credit bureaus are always going to respond on their websites faster than what the snail mail will be. So what that means is the minute they respond, you respond. So you don't have to necessarily wait the full 30 days. If they responded in 15 days, you want to now send your round two letter, your round three letter, and so forth. You don't want to wait 30 days, 30 days, 30 days. Versus it could be 90 days down the line if you're waiting on mail. And sometimes you got to give them a grace period, even then, because it may take 45 days. Okay. You don't want to do that. You want to sign up for the actual credit bureau's websites, and you want to sign up for their free monitoring as well. And that's all go back to the get started portion in our community, and you'll see those free links in there that I've put in there. And that way you can look at you can track your dispute faster. Okay, so let's look at this case now. This is where I did some deep diving, y'all, and I'm giving you the juice right here. This is where you probably gonna get it off of your credit report right here. Boom. Let's show you here. This is an act between Thomas and American Express. So the first portion of this letter is basically, again, this is now round three. I'm just going to start right here. I understand your recent correspondence that the creditor has verified the late payments with documentation. So what this means is now it's come back now. That first time, second time, they're saying it's verified, or they're saying they've sent sufficient documents. But what I'm saying is it's insufficient based on the law. So here we go. However, I maintain the information reported is inaccurate. Okay. And I am requesting further investigation. Again, guys, remember, this is about who can last the longest with these things. Okay. So here we go. As referenced in the Thomas versus American Express National Bank case, billing statements alone, and you guys can Google this case, are insufficient to establish the validity of a debt or the occurrence of a late payment. In this case, the court found that billing statements without additional documents linking the creditor to the original debt did not provide enough evidence to substantiate the claim. Especially, specifically, the court ruled that billing statements alone were inadequate to prove the debt, which mirrors my current situation regarding the late payments on the account. Okay, and they were sued for this. Okay, so guys, use this letter. And this is actually a similar letter that we're going to send to the creditors on the very first round as well. I'm waiting and holding a little bit of ammunition to send this letter on the third round to the credit bureaus, though. Okay. So the second part of that letter is just here. It's basically re-referencing the laws again that I stated here. I don't know why that's so much larger. I apologize here. But again, these letters are in here under the round three, okay, where you're requesting to conduct a thorough reinvestigation into the validity of the late payments, okay? So that's the difference in this particular letter here, okay? So let's keep going. And this particular letter right here, this is going to the round one to the actual creditors. Now, when do you send this letter? You send this letter in the beginning. Again, what we want to do is round one. If you want to try to expedite this process, you want to one, send it to the creditor. Two, send it to the credit bureau. Three, you can even file a CFPB complaint and file it with the Attorney General's office. Okay, and I'm going to show you where to go here in just a second for the Attorney General's office. Okay, whether I put the link in our under the late payment, so you go to the Attorney General's office, and then I will put a step-by-step process in there. I did put a step-by-step process on how to actually file the Attorney General complaint, but for the sake of time, I won't do a video on that one. But I did put that within our community, how you file a complaint with the Attorney General's office for your particular state, and I'll show you where that is. Okay. So in this letter to the actual creditors, okay. Again, I hope this letter finds you well. This is going to the actual creditors. You do want to send this certified mail as well. You do not want to include sign this. You do not want to include your social security. You do not want to include a utility bill. Do not include your driver's license. The only thing you're sending with this letter is the letter itself and the actual um, you're not sending a screenshot or anything like that. You're only sending the actual letter, okay? Meaning the name of the account as it appears on your credit report. And then you're going to also put the actual late payments, i.e. 03/2025, or whatever date that will be, or the dates that it's actually being reported on your actual credit report. And the reason I want you to go get that annual credit report from .com, annual credit report, because I want you to list all of your late payments there. I want you to, there is another process that I show you how to get 2 or 3 late payments at a time, but this is to try to get them all reversed at one time. Okay. So I want you to put all your late payments for that particular account right here. Okay. And then again, I go under reviewing my credit reports. I believe the information regarding late payments on these accounts is inaccurate. I'm requesting that you provide documentation that substantiates the reported late payment. Specifically, I request evidence of ownership of the dates. Please provide documentation showing your connection to the original creditor, which is most likely them. The validity, of the debt being reported, proof of the alleged late payments, i.e., internal logs. They're not going to send you those, such as payment history, original contracts. Again, what we want them to send. We want them to send is, yeah, send me that bill. Why do we want them? Because right here it says in the Thomas versus American Express, billing statements alone were insufficient. This is where we get them at, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to send us any type of internal logs. The only thing they're going to send us is billing statements 9 times out of 10. And when we reference this law, this is where it gives us a little bit more ammunition, where I'm given the Thomas American Express law. Okay, so you guys got to come back, drop into the comments, and let me know if this works for you. Okay, Then the second part of that is, again, I'm referencing 15 USC 1681 S2. And also, I want them to do this as current, not late. So I'm not asking them to actually delete anything, but I am asking them to update here. Okay. So what I'm doing here again is asking them to update within that period of time. Now I will tell you, when we reference the actual letters to the creditors, we do have to give them 30 days. Okay, they're unlike the credit bureaus. So that's that. So let me keep going here. So let me show you how to file these late payments on the CFPB. Okay. So unfortunately, I thought I was going to be able to show you a live one, but I can't get my, on this computer, I cannot get my CFBP, uh, Consumer Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to come up. So I'm going to share with you some snapshots. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a second here. Well, I tell you what, I think I put it here in this in the guide here. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a second. Give me just a moment. I tell you what, let's drop for some questions here because I'll put an actual video in there as well. Any questions so far on the late payments? Any questions on late payments? Oh, y'all good. I must have did a great job. Any questions on late payments? All right, let me just show you here. Let me go back and share my screen. Give me just a second. Uh-oh. Let me see if I got any. Give me just a second here, guys. Let me just download here. I'm trying to get, I downloaded the screenshots here and I'm trying to now get them here for the following the CFPP. Good deal. Hold on 1 second, guys. There we go. Let me give me just a second. What I did was I got locked out of my system and I couldn't get in. And I had certain things. I did all of this presentation on one computer and then I switched over to this one. But I wanted to be able to actually, I did put the documents here where you actually go. So let me, while I wait for that to download, let me share my screen once again. Guys, can you see my screen? Am I sharing?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. All right. First, let me, while I wait for that to download there, let me show you what I was talking about. If you go to get started and go to credit reports, where I was telling you guys to go ahead and make sure you're signed up for a free account for Experian, a free account for TransUnion, free account for Equifax. All you want to do is go there. You just go right to classrooms, get started, go to credit reporting, and then you just go down and I have the links already there. And that's going to help you with your dispute process, okay? So the next thing what you want to do is also, if you haven't done this, you want to download this tracking sheet right here where it says tracking sheet and fill out that tracking sheet and that'll help you step by step when you're filling out your letters, okay? And I can show you that tracking sheet in here in just a second as well. But you want to go there, okay? And where are these late payment letters? You just go to classrooms, go to credit restoration, You just go down to remove late payments, and they're right here. All little letters are right here. No matter if it's for the credit reporting agency round one, credit reporting agency round two, round three, round one to the creditor, and I even gave you a couple of other versions as well. Okay, so I think I got this other thing here downloaded here. So give me a second. I'll stop sharing once again so I can show you how to submit the CFPB complaint. Because, like I said before, you can do this simultaneously. And this is only to help to expedite the process a little bit faster. There we go. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so first of all, what you want to do first is you want to prepare all your documents first. Gather up all your information, all your letters, all your credit reports. So obviously, if you sent one letter to the credit bureaus already, you want to put that in the CFPB report as well. Okay. If you send something to the actual creditor, put that in here. If you have payment records where you paid something at a bank statement, you want to gather up all your necessary information. Okay. Then the next thing what you want to do is you want to go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, consumerfinance.gov, okay, which is called the CFPB. If you have not already created an account, you want to create an account. Okay, it's going to ask you just to put in some basic personal information. Then after you've put that personal information in there, you want to go to submit a complaint. Okay, usually at the top right hand corner. Okay, so after you've created an account, I just told you that, you want to create that. Now, instead of me showing you here, I do have it all written out, but I want to show you what you're looking at on the actual screen. Okay, so I'm going to skip through these here. All right, so what the first thing is what you're going to show. It's going to say, what is the complaint all about? So you want to go here because the reason I wanted to share with you here, because based on what you click here, it's going to now pull up the next screen. So you want to make sure you're putting the right things in these particular categories. Okay. So here, you want to go to credit reporting or other consumer reporting agencies. And I will put a video and I will put these particular steps within the community as well. And what I'll do is I'll share my screen and make it real easy for you to make sure you don't miss anything. Okay. And you can also always download this particular ebook. It'll be with there in that late payment section. So if you're a reader, you can download this ebook. Okay. Or this presentation. The next thing you want to go to what type of credit reporting? You want to select credit reporting. The next thing, what type of problem are you having? Okay. You want to go to improper use of credit report, shared without consent, credit inquiries, unknown sources. Okay. The next thing is going to say which best describes your problem. You want to go reporting company used your report. Okay. Improperly used the report. Okay. The next thing, I just thought it was much easier to actually be able to see what you're pressing on here. Then the next one is, have you already tried to fix this problem? You want to say, yes, I've tried to fix it. Did you request information from the company? Yes, I did. What information did you request? You don't have, that's optional. It's completely up to you. Did the company provide this information? No. And in this case, if you're wondering like, well, what information did you request? Remember, you asked them to give you adequate information such as internal documents, billing history, but not a billing statement. Okay. So they may have actually provided you some information, but they did not provide you what you actually requested. So what happened? I just put a basic statement here. This is what you want to type here. I disputed late payments that has been incorrectly reported on my credit report. Despite submitting, you don't have to put this exact statement. This is just something I put in here. Despite submitting supporting documents to both the creditor and the credit bureau. So again, you're sending this to who? The credit bureau and to the creditor. That's why I'm now doing a CFPB complaint. Can you do all of this in round one? The answer to that is yes, you can. Okay. My dispute remains unresolved. I have requested that the information either be removed or corrected, um, but neither party has provided sufficient proof of I can substantiate the claim, the claim of a late payment. I have attached a copy of my credit report. So here you definitely want to go ahead and put a copy of your credit report here. Highlight, circle, do whatever you want to do. You want to include the relevant dates, i.e., 03/2025, May 2024, and so forth. Okay. So I am requesting that you investigate this account promptly and update the status of these payments to paid on time. Okay. So the next thing is going to say, what resolution are you looking for? I skipped the screen here. I apologize here. But what it's going to ask you for is what would you like as a resolution? You can pretty much put, oh, this last line. I am now requesting that you investigate this account and promptly update the status of paid payments to paid on time. So it's going to be another screen that comes after that I apparently didn't put that in. I'm sorry. And then the next thing it's going to ask you to do is upload. Okay. What you want to do is upload all the documents that you have. So if this is your second round or third round, whatever you have previously sent to the creditor, whatever you have previously sent to the actual credit bureaus, you want to put that here. Okay. And then the next thing, what you want to do is after it goes there, it's going to actually bring up, and I'll make a video here to make it easier for you guys, and I'll stop sharing here. I'll stop sharing. What it's going to ask you now is, who do you want to do this actually with? It may be Experian, it may be TransUnion, it may be Equifax, and you can do all of this in one particular report because it's going to ask you to add the next person. Let me show you. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like here. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Gonna share my screen one more time. It's gonna look like this. It's gonna say what company what company is about this complaint. It's going to say Experian. Then you put in your last four of your social, the name as it appears on your credit report. Okay. And then it's going to say add the next company. Then you would just put TransUnion and so forth. Okay. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to add that to my actual report there. So that's how you want to navigate there. And I told you I wanted to come back and I want to show you how you want to put this on your credit report. So hold on one second. Let me go ahead and, I mean, not your credit report, how you want to put this on your tracking sheet. Make sure you guys are using these tracking sheets. This can save your life. All right, let me share my screen. So what you want to do here is you want to just what type of account. We'll keep it there as a student loan. Date of report, uh, April. I'm gonna show you how this is gonna work. April 9th, 2025. Account name, Capital One. I'll just say. I'm gonna show you how to use this here, guys. This will save you. Credit card. The account number, original creditor. Let's just still say it's Capital One. If it's showing a balance. So what are we doing here? Okay. So we're gonna send this way. This allows you to keep track of how you're sending letters and how to dispute. Okay. So in this case, this was a Capital One account. It shows a balance. So where are we sending this to? We're gonna just send. We're sending to TransUnion. And this way, And then you would just repeat that same process if it was going to Equifax here. The same process here if it was going to Experian. Okay. What letter are we sending? Round, you may want to just say round one late payment. So that way, date you mailed it, I'm mailing it on April 10th, 2025. And then what I'm going to do here is put my tracking number because I sent it certified mail. Why am I doing that? So I know exactly when they're going to receive it. When did they receive it? They received it on April 15th, 2025. Why am I putting that there? Because now they received it on 8/15. I mean April 15th. That starts the 30-day clock that they have to respond, the credit bureaus or even the creditors that they have to actually respond. So let's just say they came back and they said the famous line verified. Okay. And then you're going to pull your credit report again. You can pull your credit report on whatever date that they came back and said it was verified on 4/30/2025. Did they delete the late payment? No. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to round two. Okay. So that allows us to go to round two. And you want to keep track of this because it can get really confusing when you have multiple letters going out simultaneously. And the key to this is being consistent and being able to respond immediately. Okay. So let me show you one more thing here. One more thing. Let's see here. All right, here we go. I think I'm sharing my screen here now. All right, one more thing that I want to share with you because I just noticed a small little problem when things are coming back as verified. Make sure you guys are updating your personal information. You go back to get started. You want to go right here to update personal information. It's a letter right there. Okay, update personal information. Let me show you something. All right, this is where we're and this actually affects late payments as well because you're going to continue to get things come. If you've moved, this is a great time to do it. Okay. If you've moved anytime soon, you got a new address, what you want to do is update your personal information before you even send off those letters. Let me explain. You want to have no more than two names. Like when you pull your credit report, you probably have multiple names. Okay. And I'll do a whole nother video on this, but for right now, I want to make sure you have no more than two names, no more than two addresses, no more than two employers. Okay. I really recommend only have one employer on there. So if you've been at your position for 2 years, put that 2 or more years, you should only have that particular employer. Okay. Because this is also going to set you up for funding down the line. So you don't want to have 10 addresses and 10 employers. Okay. You want to be able to um, look stable. Okay. So right here, what I want you to do, this is really good because a lot of times what we do when we update our personal information, we just forget about the previous information. You want to tell them exactly what to remove. I want to remove inaccuracies, meaning if you're no longer at those addresses, that is inaccurate. Okay. So you want to have them removed, and I want you to list those addresses that's actually on your credit report. Let me explain why I'm telling you to do this. The first thing what you want to do, and I know this is a late payment video, but I want to just explain this real quick. What the first thing you want to do is anything that you have good standing with, you want to update your credit report, your new address with them, and your information with them first. Okay. Reason being, because sometimes if you update your information, they can delete accounts and you don't want to have anything that's in good standing deleted. Reason being, your address is associated with your address is actually associated with a little code, a little number. So when you update or delete that number, it can be associated with negative or positive accounts. So what you want to do is update your address with all of your positive accounts. But then what you want to do is also tell them to remove any inaccurate addresses, any inaccurate names, any inaccurate telephone numbers, and any inaccurate employers. You don't have to have your telephone number on your credit report. I personally didn't mind having it on mine when I started to get funding because they may call you sometimes when they want to verify something. So I had no problems there. And I always recommend having at least one employer if you've been there at least 2 years. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you because this is tied to your late payments because it's being tied to the verification process. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go ahead and open it up for any questions that we might have.